This is Stuff I Want to Say with me, Chad Brooks. Welcome to Stuff I Want to Say. This is July the 12th, 2019. I'm Chad Brooks, and this is Stuff I Want to Say, the podcast where I share, things I want to say. Just to kick off this episode, and this is another random assortment of things, can we talk a moment about summer rhythms and how awesome summer rhythms are? I love the summer. I love morning times in the summer and the way that the light just does things in my house. I put a picture on Instagram of that about a week ago. Just the calmness of summer mornings. But I love summer mornings. And because of the medicine that I'm on right now, I have a hard time getting up earlier like I used to. I typically like to get up about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to have plenty of time for reading and such, but that's been difficult lately. But no worries, I've been just kind of sleeping in a little late. There's something about the way the sun hits the bedroom and that sort of thing, and getting up and drinking your coffee in the morning, and then I read my Bible. I'm doing a 180-day reading of the New Revised Standard Version. And I do my reading, I drink my coffee, I eat my oatmeal, I drink my orange juice, I take my medicine, I do my grown-up things, and then I'm able to hit work time by about 8:15, 8:30 in the morning, and it's gorgeous. I love it. And Louisiana is a hot place, but for some odd reason, it did not get hot until lately, and so I love when the steering wheel is hot and the way the heat feels on my hands. It's a weird thing. And then in the summer evenings, I love even nights like tonight. I've been out late working. Had a church meeting tonight. We do finance team meetings. We've started doing them at a Mexican restaurant in town. So we have fajitas and finance. That's what we get together and do. And so we had a good meeting with some friends and some leaders in the church, and we did that thing. And then I'm coming home and I'm recording this, and I'm going to take part in one of my other favorite summer rituals and rhythms. Is I'm going to go jump in my trashy above-ground pool and stay out there until either the sun is done setting or the mosquitoes drive me away. So those are my favorite summer rhythms right now. And I'm going on vacation next week, so it's going to be completely different rhythms. But I want to hear about your summer rhythms. And so wherever you catch this podcast, please just reply back. If it's on Facebook on a post that I made, or if it's on Instagrams or the Twitters, all of the silly things I like to call the internet. But just let me know, what are your favorite summer rhythms? They are amazing and awesome, and I love mine, and I want to learn about yours. And so this next thing that I want to kind of talk about is this. I've had a pretty wild last few weeks. They've been stressful. They've been grown up. They've been all of the things that they just deal with pastoring and ministry and that sort of a thing. And I'm realizing that there are things that are different right now that I'm learning to do differently. One of my friends, one of my board members, gave me permission a few weeks ago to say, Chad, it's okay to say that you're different. It's okay to live life differently right now. And I'm doing that. But what's so wild is I feel like in some ways I'm almost reinventing myself. I shared on the last episode of the podcast that I've deleted all the productive pastor content, which I have done. It's now gone. I've not tried to get on iTunes because I'm too lazy to do it, but I know it no longer exists inside of the podcast server. So I know that's going on. But I've also casting off things. And I had a friend of mine who I trust a lot, who I called to talk with him, just to talk about this just weird. I don't want to say weird. That's not the right word. That sounds like negative. But there's I'm in a spiritual season right now that is different, and that I feel like I will be remembering for the rest of my life. And I was talking to him about that. He was kind of challenging me on some side of things and this sort of stuff. But it's all right to reinvent yourself. That's a totally appropriate, all right thing to do. It's all right to go into the place and time where you realize that you're changing. But I found somebody on the internet that, and I wish she was on Twitter, but she's not, that is kind of just navigating some of the things that I am learning so much right now just about myself. And I say this a lot about it, but if you think the Bible is boring, then you're not reading it. And I will tell you that the time I'm spending in Scripture right now is is continuing to show these things and show my weaknesses and show my where I try to do things I shouldn't be doing, and how I try to self-define myself and all sorts of things like that. But anyway, so Jennifer K. Smith, Jenny Smith, wrote an article called How Much Work is Enough. I'll link to it in the show notes, revchadbrooks.com/006 for stuff I want to say. And it's a quick read, and she's a pastor, but she talks just about this idea of working too much in ministry and defining what is enough and what is right and what is appropriate and all of those sorts of things. And I love this article. And so and what she's pretty much saying is in here is that don't allow your work to define who you are. Is in, like, don't put the amount that you're able to work and the degree to which you are doing. Don't let it define you. And it's tough for people sometimes who love to work, who enjoy working. I'm kind of one of those people, but I'm learning so much about that. And so just go read this article. It's so good. And she has other stuff that's good. And I have a feeling that I'm going to be spending some time on her blog just reading the stuff that she says. But, it just goes back to those summer rhythms. I'm trying really hard, and I failed already this week. Like, I got to go do some work tomorrow because I'm leaving for vacation. That's how I'm justifying it, but I don't know if it's a good justification or not. But these things, like, what do we get ourselves to? But I'm really trying hard to get to the point to where I can close my computer on Thursday evenings and I don't open it again until Saturday evening. I'm learning the difference between Sabbath and those sorts of things. And so just reinventing yourself can sometimes be this difficult process, especially when you know you need to for the sake of yourself. It's never easy. And it can be filled with a time of doubt. It can be filled with a time of questioning. I think that it's also a very dangerous thing for us to do without the counsel of others. And that's something that I've been finding myself seeking more and more lately than I have over the last few years. I realized, just to be honest, that a lot of the time I called the people who used to serve as that I was bragging more than I was actually seeking counsel. So just this idea of self-reinvention, especially when it has to happen, can just be an interesting thing. So I'd like to hear from you about that. What does that look like? So the word of the moment, I'm going to start sharing these every episode, but the word of the moment right now is the word that fascinates me in Scripture. It's the word that I have a special color that underlines passages that look like this, the whole 9 yards. But the word of the moment is faithfulness. And that's all I can say about that right now. I feel like it's something that can get opened up to a much larger degree than I'm even comfortable opening it up right now. But faithfulness is the magic word of the time right now. So that's it. Stuff I want to say this week. I've got a killer episode coming out next week because I'm going to be on vacation, but I really want to try to stick to a weekly posting schedule for these episodes. And so my buddy J.R. Forresteris, I interviewed him for another podcast last year, and me and him are going to have a conversation about the devil, about who the devil is, where the devil came from, and when the devil did his devil stuff. And that's the next episode. Hope you tune in. Hit me back on the socials. Thanks so much for listening to this. I'm Chad Brooks.